Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode and you won't miss out. So welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. All right, after a wild eviction night that ended up with Gino, Marty, and Summer being evicted and headed to the jury house, there was a little hope for Betty fans. Are you a Betty fan? Because, and this is a spoiler alert, she became the newest HOH. And after a couple of days of feeds, there are a few updates. And these are going to include additional spoilers. All right, so Betty is the HOH. She nominated Josh and JC Lynn. The power of veto was played, and Helena won the power of veto. Yeah, Helena pulling out another win. It's beginning to look like she's trying to shape up her endgame, right? All right, before the veto last night, it sounded like Betty caught on to Kevin, I think. And it appeared she would now be after Kevin. Now, remember, I said this was before the veto was played. So her now all of a sudden figuring out Kevin, I think it's a little too late, right? Because she had already nominated Josh and JC Lynn. So I think it may be too late for her to make that switch because, like I just mentioned, Helena won the veto. And I'm not sure she'd use it. Remember, Helena and Kevin are the ghosts. Remember, they're their two-person alliance. And I don't see it changing now. I don't. As a fan, from our point of view, it may make more sense for Helena to pull JC Lynn off the block and Betty then replace JC Lynn with Kevin and they vote him out. And Helena would take credit for getting him out, right? And that's a big move. I mean, based on the men in the jury, right? We have Herman, we have Moose, we have Gino, we have Marty. Based on those guys in the jury, I think they'd respect that move from Helena, right? And she would have their vote potentially. But you have more of a chance of getting their vote if she made a move like that. But I'm not sure Helena has that forethought. Online, her stands are giving her a lot of credit for playing strategically. Let's see. I think her fans are wrong. By the way, Helena lied through the game and really operated off of what Kevin planned, in my opinion. But they'll learn that when the jury votes for anyone against Helena in the end, the fans will learn, I should say. Helena doesn't have a chance to win in the end. And as disappointing as it may sound to Helena stands, it's just true. The male dominance in the jury would not vote for Helena, over Kevin. That's one. And if she's against JC Lynn, the same. She won't win. If she's against Betty, I think the same thing. She won't win. The only one she may have a shot against winning, or may have a shot of winning against, is Josh. And I'm not even 100% sure of that. Because of the male dominance in that jury. So it'll be interesting to see how Helena's endgame develops or continues to develop. And let's see if she is really a strategic player. We'll see that over the next week or so. A few observations on the feeds. JC Lynn, her pitch to Betty, it was a good effort. She was understanding to Betty, right? I know it would seem like an obvious choice to put me on the block. But let me share something with you, Betty. Out of the 4 people left, 3 of them have screwed me over, lied to my face, with one of them being the same person that put you on the block. Of course, she's talking about Josh, right? And she also said that she would consider working with Betty only. Right? The other 3 are working together, which is obvious now. And I hope Betty sees that. Overall, I thought that JC Lynn gave a good effort and it was a good try. She's not rolling over, right? She's playing to the end. And that's how you should play. And then Josh had his talk with Betty to explain why he did what he did during his 10-minute HOH, right? And I found it so interesting. The night, eviction night, when he was talking about Betty doesn't understand. And then he all of a sudden, him being HOH for his 10 minutes, now he understood what Marty was going through and how everyone comes up to you and how they talk to you. I'm like, Josh, you've been HOH for 10 minutes. Let's settle down, Anyway, he even said he didn't think Summer was good for their game. Right? This is Josh talking to Betty. He didn't think Summer was good for their game. And I found that interesting, considering that Summer was better for Betty's game than Josh. I just find the way that Josh continues to gaslight Betty, I think it's messy. And I also found it interesting how he said you can't rely. Well, this is what he told Betty. He said you can't just rely on someone else building a resume for themselves. And that's what he felt like Summer was doing, right? She was playing for herself. And in my mind, I'm like, but Josh, isn't that what Kevin's doing? And this is what I'm saying. Josh is in a trance. I don't know. He's in a trance. But if that's what he feels, will win him the game, then go for it, Josh. This is a game that we know for sure. This is just a game. And if Josh feels like this is what he needs to do, I think he looks a little foolish, but whatever. People get out of the house. They'll jump on him. Well, they're already all over him on Twitter. But we'll see how long that lasts, right? People, we all move on, right? Especially when the new season of Big Brother comes out. We kind of forget. We kind of forget, right? Anyway, it sounds like Betty won't have hard feelings after this experience is over. So that's a good thing for Josh, right? For some reason, the house guest thinks, another observation is, for some reason, the house guests think that today is Easter. They keep sending out happy Easter messages. I'm not sure why. Another observation is Betty is in the room practicing her speech, and she keeps saying she can do this. She can do this. Like she's like, you can do this. You can do this. So we'll have to see how the veto ceremony plays out tomorrow. Initially, I thought that Betty should align with JC Lynn, but she had a point in that JC Lynn wins competitions. Yes, we see that, and she wins under pressure. And the guys in the jury house would not overlook that for JC Lynn. So it may make sense for them to cut JC Lynn. So having Betty, Josh, Helena, and Kevin in the final four to play the final comps, it's almost like they all of them will have a good chance to win the next comp. There's no one dominating comps there, right? I don't know. So Betty is the new HOH. Josh and JC Lynn are nominated. Helena won the power of veto. Tomorrow we'll see the HOH competition, so I'm looking forward to that, to seeing how Betty won the HOH. What do you think about these developments? Do you think Helena will use, she already won the veto, but do you think she will use the veto? And do you think Helena has been a strategic player throughout the entire game, throughout the season? You have to let me know what you think. All right, leave me a comment. All right, and that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you very much. All right, my name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.